Welcome to The Real and the Woo. I'm your host, Larry Stern, and today I'm with my very famous friend, the celeb DJ himself, Taz Rashid, who I'm so lucky to call my friend. You're the shit. You're like a big deal.
No, just hanging. I'm just doing my craft, I don't think of any, big deal or anything like that. I feel like I'm just showing up to what I need to offer the world. It's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Lori.
You're so welcome. Well, I mean, it's no surprise. One of the ways I adore you is your authenticity and your humble nature, right? And so I just want to let everybody hear from you briefly how you'd like to describe yourself these days, because people can read a lot about you. They can find your origin story online. I know you tried the corporate world, that wasn't for you. Kind of wanted to know in that way when you touch on it, when did you finally decide it really wasn't for you and how quickly did that evolve? And then, you blend with your music so many different genres. So I would just love to know if you've sort of created a title for the kind of music that you're creating.
Well, that's a lot of beautiful, I think that's like a 10-part question, but
That's what I
no,
do.
I'll just share like to consider like what I do now or what I offer the world. I would say I am a musician, music producer, DJ in the wellness community and the wellness space. And I primarily produce music and play music at events that are yoga, breath work, meditation, conscious community oriented. And so I'm really all about elevating that world with my music. And that journey began, I would say, probably around 2009 when I was still in the corporate space. But back then it was more like kirtan and mantra bands and things like that. But that evolved. And when I left the corporate world in around 2011 and jumped in deep into this world, 2012, it evolved into more of this yoga space and breathwork space and meditation. And those communities really called me out. So that's what I'm doing right now. But that's on like the front side. I would say on the back end, I'm really producing music for a lot of brands and their apps and their wellness products and things like that. And just really staying busy with that. And a lot of that's kind of like under the scenes, because I'm busy working and delivering to those clients. A lot of people don't even know about that, but I've produced hundreds of tracks for well-named brands out there. And so that keeps me very busy as well. And I'm also a husband and a father. Got two kids. I'm very involved with my family. And, that takes up a ton of time, but that's what I love to do. So yeah, and the journey continues. Now it's all about the different types of collaborations I'm saying yes to. That's a big, part of the journey. It's like, how do you spend your time? Where do you give your energy and time to? Because everything there's an opportunity cost in a sense. It's an old like economic term, like where you say yes to one thing, you're saying not now to the other things or a flat out no to something else. So you're always making choices, whether we realize it or not. So it comes down to how much of consciously are we making choices towards. And so I feel like the fun's just beginning. And that's felt like that for a while. Like there's so many new great things on the horizon. It just feels like the fun's just starting. And I just launched my new app last year, SoulGroove Wellness, which you're on. And that's a
Yeah.
huge project. So there's just a lot of fun things happening. So that's where I'm at kind of at right now, and a lot of things under that umbrella,
Well,
I guess.
yeah. I asked too many things leading in, and you just threw a lot of things coming back at me. So I
Yeah.
love it in no particular order, right? So I want to touch on so many things.
Yeah.
You are the festival guy, right?
Mhm.
And every time I see a post from you, you're off to some festival or on your way to a festival. And I would love to know, how'd you get into that space? And is that pretty much become, in terms of where you're DJing, primarily your meat and potatoes these days? And why don't you just answer those two, and then I'll delve in more deeply
Yeah.
to a couple.
So the festival guy, that's great. Thank you for noticing. Like it seems like I'm at tons of festivals, but honestly, over the last few years, I'm probably at like doing less than 20 events a year.
Mm.
Maybe like 20. I'm not even sure, but there were years in 2018, 17, 2019 where I was doing like 60, 70 events a year. It was just like
Mm.
crazy grinding. And then I had my child around Sophia around 2018, but I don't necessarily want to say that I slowed down, but I just stopped saying yes to a lot of like events that weren't economically feasible, or it wasn't good for me to leave my family to go to that. You know
Right.
what I mean? So now I say yes to like the bigger festivals and things that I feel like are more impactful, for what I'm doing. And really, it just all, I never applied to a single festival. It all came through invitation. And for me, that's very important. It's different for different people. And I've spoken about this on different podcasts or whatever, but I know the way I operate as an individual and my human design. And for me, it's about being invited into
Yeah.
the space and, being connected, like people connect me like, hey, you should book this person. And then the festival will find me, or the festival will know me and reach out to me. So really, like, I don't really worry about what's happening out there in the world. I don't know, like, oh, I have to go to these events or I need to like play at these festivals. I'm just kind of like doing with what I've been invited to and what I have this year. And then if they call me back next year, that's amazing. And then new places reach out to me. So I'm really really in the flow when it comes to events. And the invitations are still coming, so I'm very grateful for that. And so I'll keep going until the invitations either stop or change, or everything's to be kind of like determined in the universe in that sense. So I'm just grateful for what is happening. And I forget what your second question was.
Well, yeah, let's just pause there for a second. I was cracking up just a moment ago because I was going to ask you about your human design because you stated so clearly invited. So
Yeah.
I think we might be the same. I also have to wait to be invited, which, especially when you're growing a business and you're trying to get your name out there, is
Yeah.
really hard, especially if you're someone like me and you who are tenacious and gifted and have a mission to elevate what we do through what we do, right? So I'd love to make $1 million, but I'd also do this for free because connecting people to people and really inviting them to find their passion within themselves through what we do, although it's different, connects.
Yeah.
So what's your human design?
Yes, I'm an emotional projector.
Me too.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I figured that. And one thing I will say about the projector is that a lot of people, the word waiting for the invitation gets thrown out there. I think we have to reframe that, because for a lot of people, that sounds like we're like not doing something, or like we're kind of like waiting, like, hey, are we gonna get picked for the draft?
Yeah,
I kind of disagree with that terminology. I think it's
I
more
do
like
too.
it's not waiting, because that shows like some sort of like neediness, like, oh,
Hmm.
pick me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more, I don't even think of it like that. I think like I really enjoy what I actually have going on, that I'm not even worried or thinking about any kind of invitation that's not here yet. Like it's not even my business, to be honest. And so, like,
Yeah.
when I see other things happening, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. It'd be great to play there one day, maybe. That's it. But I'm not, internally is where it's important. Like, how are we attracting or bringing that opportunity towards us? So even the way we think about it, like from that kind of sense, it's like, and the way we frame it is important. And so it's like there's opportunities around us. No matter who you are, there's opportunities everywhere.
Hmm.
Like for example, like you live in Chicago, it's a big city. I live in Florida. In Tampa, it's not as big in the yoga spaces as Chicago, but for me at this point in my life, I'm not really worried about local events as much, but I remember when I lived in Chicago, I wasn't even thinking about these festivals like Wanderlust and all these things. I was all about, like you remember the Healing Power Studio
Individual
and
studios, yeah. And Shri
Marcy's
and
studio. I
Too
forget
Hot.
what was Marcy's.
So I
Marsha.
saw you, Marsha. So we had Too Hot Yoga, which is now Highland Park Yoga. So
I
Desiree
never even
still.
played there. I think I played there like
You
one
did
time.
though. You
I
did.
played I played there one time. No, but a
Yeah,
Healing Power, I played there regularly with
of
Lourdes.
course,
And
with
then
Pam
Marsha, I forget her studio name.
Tazioli, but now she's remarried. I forget her last name now, but
What
she
was the
had
name of the
Shri.
studio?
Shri.
Shri. That's right.
Yeah.
So like, but I never like went around like reaching out to studios anywhere, being like, hey, I play here. You should
Hmm.
book me. I was all about that one studio, and that was it, Healing Power with
Yeah.
Lourdes. And I was just
And
like making
Pam.
that amazing with Pam, and I remember it was really like Lourdes class that I just did on Thursday mornings at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
and that was it. And then like I did other things around the city, but like I wasn't like in like I wasn't like this is a job. Like I gotta go like put my application in and try to do all
Mm,
these other things. So it built momentum on its own. And like I believe this is like the power of the law of, attraction or like the magnetism. It's like
mm,
you make your craft with whatever you're doing so powerful in that one opportunity that others will just like feel it. And this is
mm.
getting into like energetics in the sense where like you really like just build that energy so much where others will just be like, what's this guy doing? We
Yeah.
should look at what he's doing. I truly believe that that stuff works. But again, that's our like kind of design, and
Hmm.
that's how it works for some. But I didn't realize that till about 20, I think 13 or 14 when I first did a human design.
Mm.
I'm oh, that's why it's like this for me. This is great. Now I
Right.
have clarity. And but I saw that, like, like Yoga Journal, all these festivals. Somehow someone found me or connected me to it, and then bing bong. And then once you're in the party, like that way I said, once you're in the party, you can go talk to whoever because you're in the
Yeah.
door.
That's so
And
nice.
so that was one of the things I would say in the festival scene that I just really stayed patient in a sense, not even patient. I would just really rock what was happening. And
Hmm.
then opportunities would come. I think that's a good thing for folks to hear who may feel like, I don't want to get to the main stage. I said,
Mm.
that's great. It could happen, but work with what's being presented because sometimes the most amazing things are right in front of us. There's
Hmm.
great opportunities just down the street or locally. And some people don't always see that. I always look for the mini miracles or gifts.
Right, right. And, the waiting to be invited. The woman who read my chart explained sort of what you're saying too. It's not that I actually have to wait. I can still create opportunities. For example, like the Zion Yoga Festival, because of you, that was the first one I ever even took the time to apply to. And I wasn't selected, however, yet. It was a good learning experience just to even get my big girl pants on and say, I really do want to be doing this no
Love
matter
it.
what the stage is, but to go through that process is good experience too. And, the invitation comes, and then the other part of it is when I don't necessarily wait for that invitation through alignment. Some people are just like, you're always invited. You don't have to ask anymore. It doesn't work out as well for me. And I feel like that's the difference. So when someone comes at me and says, oh, I see you do this and chakra balancing and workshops and da 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 da, let's have a chat. Just the chat is the invitation, right?
Yeah.
Being on somebody's podcast is an open invitation. So it's not like I have to knock on the door and say, pick me, pick me. It's like you said, just staying in alignment with the opportunity, doing what we do, and people find their way to us,
Mhm.
when they're meant to. Divine timing plays into that as well. But also, listen, when you're growing a business, it's hard to find that balance, which it sounds like you have now. But initially, when you're trying to grow, you want to say yes to everything. And whether you start having kids or not, you start knowing yourself more, and your energetics matter. And how much do you need to put out there? What's the return on the investment? It isn't always about money. The return on investment is, does this align with me and truly invigorate my energy, or does it deplete my energy, right? No matter how much money you have, if you don't have energy, what's the investment, right?
Yeah, and one thing I would say is like in the beginning, like before I even like thought about that these opportunities even existed, because I would say for what I do, it's not really like a career path for many people out there in the world. I would say there's like really a handful of people that's specifically like a yoga music producer in the yoga wellness space that's like doing that full time and supporting a whole family. There are a lot of like musicians in the conscious space in general, like ecstatic dance, but specifically in the DJ meditation field, like I don't know too many. They're out there, but what I would have to say is that like that was something that happened over a period of time. But what I noticed was that I was actually going to these events myself in the beginning, just like my wife and I would go and we were just experiencing it. So we were actually like putting ourselves there as a participant and really just experiencing the festival. And then I knew like energetically, like, wow, like I'd love to do something at these events where I'd like to already be here. Like I would already want to be at a place. Like, what would it take for me to actually create a lifestyle where I'd be earning money and income to support myself as an individual and be at the places that I would want to be. So I was like energetically and physically putting myself there without even any ties or ideas to like this is going to become a career path. That was really powerful because from any kind of laws of attraction studying, it's like you want to go like sit in that car and feel the energy, before you buy those ideas. It's like you go to the place and like you stand there and you feel like what it would feel like to be, at that festival as a musician or a teacher or something like that. But really, like I would have to say, like I got into the festival work with a company called Bhakti Fest back in 2012.
I remember.
And that was in the Midwest. They did their first one, and it's really amazing and strange and synchronous how I went to the first Bhakti Fest in Joshua Tree in 2011. And I told my wife, I'm like, that'd be really cool if they did this in the Midwest and I worked for them somehow. And literally next year, I was connected to their team, not to come in as a musician, but to help them with their vendor and street team because I had business experience. So like you don't know always how you're going to end up in a space, but I was working with them as a vendor coordinator assistant to their vendor person, and I organized their street team and I was DJing at the event. That was like a plus, that was like a freebie. Like I was DJing their parties at night, but my job with them was this like marketing kind of like coordinator person in the Midwest. So you don't always know how things are going to lead into, but you have to see if it's somehow, especially in the beginning, I said yes to these opportunities that at that moment, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be producing music for this. I was just like, this sounds great. And it's going to bring me joy and it's going to pay me a little bit of money so I can have like some sort of a job. That's very like unique way of also perspective on how to get in there. So like, I feel like when people want to like make these big jumps, I always say, don't leave your day job right away. Like, don't make dramatic things. Say yes to like what's being offered, even if they're small things. Because that when you say those little yeses, you're saying those little yeses are adding up to like big yeses that may be possible. There's no guarantees in any of this stuff. It's a world. It's the game of grace. It is a game. There's a game. It's a game of karma. It's a game of grace. It's a game of action, effort, attitude. So many like there's only a few things we can actually control. And one of those things is your attitude. Like, how are you showing up? What are you truly feeling inside of you that's allowing you to generate more of that energy that's going to attract what you're truly seeking? Because being honest with yourself is, I would say, is one of the most important things. And a lot of times people lie to themselves about why they actually want or desire something, because desires aren't bad. Desires are, I think, in my opinion, are actually wonderful. But the honesty behind what that desire is, in my opinion, very needed to be authentic and true to the self first. Like you have to be true with why you want something, even if it seems like it's an egotistical thing, or like, oh, I want this because I want to look cool, but I don't want to say that or think that because it's judging, it's bad. And so you're like, then there's like a personal judgment that gets created around you.
Like a block. Yeah.
Yeah, and a block. So it's like the universe is confused because the universe is working with, it's just energy. There's no judgment. It's all like karmic flows of this and that. But this is my like understanding experience. And of course, there may be more elevated, deeper experience of that. But the desires are very important to consider and look at because we shouldn't throw them away or be like, we shouldn't have desires.
Right.
This and that. The why is important.
The why is important. And knowing yourself is a practice, and it becomes important, just like you said, thinking about placing myself on a stage, for example, at a festival. There's a million of me, right? There's not a lot of you, which is wonderful. But where I'm different, I know now is what you and I have talked about collaborating on is my secret sauce is my curation of embodying the chakras with yoga and movement and sound, right? And there isn't a lot of people doing that, especially no one doing it like I do it. And so the right people come to me at the right time with that integration idea, whether it's just straight talking in a workshop, which I do, or the integration of yoga, or just the yoga alone, right? So I'm able to do those things. And as emotional projectors, we're meant to be the sages and teach from the well of knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that we've amassed, and explain it in the language that we can, that's authentic for us, right? And that's what I love about what I am able to do, because it really is just unique to me. And of course, imposter syndrome comes into it, and comparison syndrome. And I've talked about that on my podcast also. And the shift between that limiting mindset to just what you said, we all pull from the same universal pot. And I just say we have different ladles. My ladle's mine, your ladle's yours. And if we can just all remember there's plenty and more to go around, then we're not limited. Oh, she's already on that stage doing that, I can't possibly compete. No one's asking anybody to compete.
There's only one
And
of
if
you, just like you said.
only one of me. And the honesty is, yeah, it would look fucking cool to be on a stage like that. And a smaller stage where I make one person feel better. Like it's just what, my husband plays softball, and everybody wants to hit the home run. But how do you win a game? One base at a time. It takes the single hits. And just what you said, it takes saying yes to the smaller things and the bigger things. Because if the intention is to elevate consciousness and make people feel understood and good, then it doesn't really matter where you are. You can be standing in the middle of nowhere and just put that vibe out, and that matters too. Yeah. So I want to talk about the app, because that was, I know, and I'm so grateful to have been invited to create some classes for you. That was a learning curve, I'm sure. Anything you want to discuss about that process, how it's going, what the plans are for it or with it, anything like that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So the app is SoulGroove Wellness, and this app is something that I think about 2 years ago I got this just energetic thing. It was like, what happened was I was just like supporting so many different companies and teachers with my music, and I was helping their apps and programs. I was just like, I have a lot of relationships and I have a lot of music. I should just, I'm not a yoga teacher, but like I know how to put these videos together because I do that. So for me, this was a personal project where I was like, I wanted to just do this. So I put together an app mainly for yoga, yoga, meditation, breath work, and different types of wellness type classes and experiences. And the app itself also has a lot of music as well. This is something you may not even know yet, but on there's a teachers tab where it's full mixes that I just recently uploaded, like around over 108 mixes. So folks that may not have Spotify or Apple or around the world that may not be able to use some of those programs, they can literally use the music on the app, and it's already curated full mixes. So it's something for my audience who are not teachers, like they're just practitioners who happen to love music and wellness practices. It's for them. And it can also be used by teachers for the sake of music if they choose to. And there's about 20 teachers. You have some great classes on there. Absolutely love them. And the plan for that is to continue putting together wellness challenges, yoga challenges, new classes. And it's one of those things that it could happen quickly where it grows, or it's a slow growth. And for me, it doesn't matter. For what matters to me is that like I know I did it, meaning like I put together over 200 classes. It's out in the world. It's alive. People are using it. There are subscribers, and the consistency is the name of the game I think when it comes to stuff like this. So my goal is to have 3 or 4 challenges a year, so to continue that energy, like the next one, we're going to have a meditation challenge. It's going to be like 10 days. And then we're going to do a breath work one. And then we'll do like another yoga one. But it's just to like keep my audience engaged, because everyone hasn't signed up, nor will they. And when they feel called to, like there's a free trial. I think right now there's a 2-month free trial, which is kind of insane. But I really want people to just get in there and have full access to everything, and hopefully they stick around. And it's exciting because what I'm doing now is making partnerships with different events and brands that are having me at their events, and I'm promoting the app to their audiences. And a lot of festivals are open to really supporting that, which is exciting. And it's fun, like I absolutely love putting music and classes together. I've been doing that for companies like Wanderlust and and Commune and Apple and Mind Valley and so many others over the years, and Yoga Journal. And so I know how to do that. So why not do something for yourself?
Right,
That's
right.
really the exciting part.
That is exciting. I love the generosity you have. I know on your website also as a teacher, I can pay a very small fee
Oh
and
yeah.
get free music, right? So my question is, does that connect that what you've done on your app for the curated playlists? Are they changeable like you can do on Spotify, or you just have like a one
No.
hour
Yeah,
flow or
so
whatever?
so for like you're referring to my royalty-free music
Right, that's
library.
on your
Yeah.
website.
That's
I
on my
can
website.
choose
So
those.
so they're separate products, but I created that one really for individuals like yourself and small
Mm.
studios. And I started that back in 2020 when the world was like
Right, when
collapsing
we
and
had to do everything
everyone's
online and
online.
we
And
were getting kicked off. You're like, you don't have the rights to
yeah,
that music. Yeah.
it was really for people putting up their videos on like, YouTube, their own apps,
Yep.
classes behind a paywall, or Vimeo or whatever. And there's still a good bunch of people that are using that. So I've kept that going. I think for an individual, it's just like 197 a year, and they get over like 1,000 songs. That's a lot of,
Yeah.
specifically if you're like a wellness content creator, like you're creating meditations, yoga, the stuff like that. It's an amazing thing.
Well, wait, really quick. Remember, I
Yeah.
texted you. It might have been too late at night, but I can't remember if you answered. But my Moon Omens Instagram came up, and I was like, look whose music this is,
Moon
because
Omen, what's that?
I follow Moon Omens, and it's like I get my daily
Oh, it's like a
horoscope,
page.
but Moon Omens,
Oh
they
yeah,
do
yeah,
like
I
the
think I
new moon.
remember this.
And they have like an Instagram message about the moon, for example, and there's music behind it. And that
Hmm.
particular day, it was like, oh my God, I know this song. And I was like,
That's
I looked
funny.
at the
That's
credits and
up.
it was you. And I said, do you work with Moon Omens? And you're like, I don't know. They
They're
probably
probably
bought your
just using
music.
like an IG one of because my music's on Instagram as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like anyway, so that's a product in its own, and then the app is a separate thing, but those playlists that are on the app, the full mixes cannot be changed because they're just like already done mixes for you. But there are individual tracks, and over time I will upload more of my music on there. But really, like you can create playlists on there for audio, which is really cool. So someone could have the app and they could make a playlist of like 10 songs. But right now, most of my music that's uploaded on there are meditation tracks and binaural beats. A lot of this stuff is actually not on places like Spotify, like, music for sleep, music for deep meditations like alpha, theta, even a little bit of gamma, beta, stuff like that. And so that music's on there. It's really cool. And that music's been used by tons of videos and brands because I used to use them for licensing, but that's on the app. And then the music library is separate, and that music you can do whatever you want with it because you actually get the files or playlists. It's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about music for a
Yeah.
little bit. I
Sure.
also text you from time to time, like, hey, this would be a really good mashup.
Yeah.
So with the way you create your music, especially the collabs, of course, as a fan of musicians, my first question is, have you met the people with whom you've remixed their songs? Is that A, something you want to do? B, you've done it, it's not required. But how does that come about? Like you get an idea or they approach you or both?
Yeah, it's kind of like I see those things as like opportunities as well. Like I have almost never reached out to a musician being like, I want to remix your song, or like,
Mm.
hey, let's co it's always been like we met somehow, we're talking, we become friends, and then we'll do a collab. And a lot of times they'll reach out to me wanting to collaborate somebody, and I don't really know them, but let them remix one of my songs.
Mm.
Um, and that's a great way to easily collaborate because it's still like, so they'll take like one of my songs that's already done, and I'll send them the stems, like a bass, guitar, like separate, and they'll remix, and then it's a collaboration. So that's fun
Mm.
as well. And there are lots of musicians I've never met that I've done collaborations with. A lot of them I have, but there's folks that I don't even know what they look like. But it's
Uh-huh.
like, I may have collaborated with somebody who is a friend, and they're like, hey, this person wants to remix our track, and I would say yes to it, but I don't know that person, but I'm trusting the relationships. And of course, I have to hear the final version and approve it, this and that. But once you do a lot, I've done so many of those. So it's like there's a system. Everything is an operational system, and it's every every job or business has that. You know, everything's operation from A to Z. And once you've done it and it's actually and you enjoy it, it's cool. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And I know you've got live singers also. Some of your tracks, some people I've heard of, some people I've never heard
Yeah.
of. I've volunteered.
Yeah.
And I see that you're sitting in your studio, but do you record like there? And also, do you record off site for some of these things?
Yeah. My studio is really like it's like a home studio. So this is not like, you know, this is not tuned up for like a professional sound studio for like vocal, but I can definitely record vocals in here. But it's not like an actual, this is a home studio, you know. So I'm making most of my stuff like on my keyboard here, and you can't see like, but on the computer and my different audio equipment that I have, I've got my speakers and all that. But usually when I'm working with singers, like they'll go somewhere that they're recording their vocals, like
Mm,
either to an actual studio or they're recorded at their home and they'll send me the vocals and I'll work with that. So that's a lot easier. It's the days of like we have to get together, you know, let's fly out, this and that. You can do all that. It's just a lot of time, energy, and money that goes into that. So most people can record locally. You can easily find a studio somewhere and you know, you can have the music and record your voice. So it's like, it just depends on how much energy you want to give a project, but there's smarter ways of doing everything, in my opinion.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's the music part of it. You talked about your own practice. When whether you're at festivals or at home, I've seen you practice to your own app, and it's wonderful. And I love your Instagrams. For a little while, you're doing these really funny things where you'd be standing there and like looking one way, and then it's really brilliant. I love it.
I've
You're so
tried some
funny.
stuff. Those things takes a lot of effort. I'm not doing as much of those right now, but
Yeah, yeah.
that was a fun phase. Yeah.
No, it's really, really fun. And so, in terms of like what you're doing now, I like to ask my guests a variety of questions. One is, what would you say was your biggest success so far, if you want to identify it? And what has been your biggest challenge?
Oh, success. There's so many different, I
So many
think
different
like
layers.
so many different types of successes, you know, and like I don't want to think of them as like a financial type thing, but I look at it as like an opportunity. I think one of the biggest things that was like a big milestone jump was when I started working with Wanderlust back in
Mm,
like teen, because I just did one event in Chicago and then they liked what I did so much. Like the founder reached out to me and he invited me to like, we had a talk and he wanted to do something and they invited me to like all their festivals. And that was like a big, I was like, what? I was telling my wife, I'm like, I think this is the founder of the festival. And
mhm.
I remember that day because it was just like a whoa, like, because usually like their person will reach out or something, but he reached out directly, just Jeff Krasno. And I was just like, this is so amazing. You know, like this is like a calling. It was literally a calling to rise up with the folks that were doing that, you know, like all the people in that space. Anyway, so that was like a big, like energetic, like jump
Mhm.
and an actual jump to being like, all right, this is a career path now. Because at that, I remember that year, 2014, where it was like, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do more, like more. I was like, is this a job? Like, am I gonna keep pursuing like yoga events? Is
Mhm.
this like, what is this? Like, is this serious? But then like the right opportunity found me where I was like, wow, this could be an actual career path. And
Yeah.
so that was, I would say one of like a great, I don't even know if it's accomplishment, but that was a brilliant like invitation.
Well, it
And then,
sounds like, it's like your life prior to 2014 looked one way. And
mhm.
then from that
Yeah.
point on, it looks
Yes.
another way.
Yeah.
So to find it as success, to find it
Yeah.
as the catalyst, there's a difference between what was and now what
Exactly.
is. So I love that you've identified that.
It was like
And
a
then the
quantum jump.
challenge,
Yeah.
yeah, a big
Yeah.
jump. And so like,
That was a
what
great
would you,
jump. And there was other jumps later. I would say like 2021, there was another jump on the production side. I started working with brands like Apple and things like that. And that was another big jump. Challenge wise, I would say, man, it's like there's so much I still want to do, you know, because I play like, 10, 15. I don't even know. I play a lot of instruments. I have a lot of ideas and visions of like how I want to do music in the world, you know? And like there's only so much time as far as what I can do, especially when you have a family. Like I support a family of four, but then we also have a full-time nanny, so it's five people live in my house, that
Hmm.
and so like I have to think about it's not a world of one, it's a world of five, in a sense. And so I have to choose how I use my time. So I would say like that's the challenge is around how to manage time and what to say yes to, because I get a lot of opportunities where I have to just like I'm excited about it, like, oh, that's fun, but I can't do so. Like management of opportunities,
Right.
is a challenge, honestly.
It is a challenge.
And
It's a
so
work-life
many friends I
challenge.
want to work with that keep reaching out, wanting to collaborate, and I want to work with them, but I in a way, it's like if I did that, it would always almost be like stealing from my family. It's
So
time.
funny you
And like
say
I
that.
have to literally think of it like that. Like if I left my house for some dinky gig or a festival where they wanted to pay very low, or it literally, you have to think of it like it's you're taking something away from your family
Hmm.
because dad has to leave. I'm gone for 3 days or something. So like that stuff is not cool anymore. Like I can't do that. In the beginning, like, I would do some things where I would go for like a little bit longer time. I would stay somewhere. But nowadays it's like in and out, you know, this flight, that flight, because I have a newborn, he's 11 months old. It's
Yeah.
like, and 6.5, but their life is happening. So I want to be part of that.
Well, of course. And I'm about to write a blog about Estia, which we know is non-stealing. And,
Oh,
the way I'm coming at it is a variety of ways, just from a yoga perspective, the person who walks into a class and throws their shit down and class is already going on. That's
oh.
one form of stealing, right? You're stealing the piece of someone else next to you. Or frankly, when you don't shower and you come to class, that's another form of stealing, believe it or not, but it happens. But in that same way, so the boundaries that we need to put up,
Yeah,
how we allow others to steal our time
yeah,
is up to us. And so
exactly.
just when we look at energetics of depletion, it's important, especially when you have a family, and that work-life balance is a challenge as well as a gift for a lot of people. Okay, another question I like to ask my guests from time to time is if someone had to describe to you what they think your superpower is, what do you think they would say?
I think when I'm at my events, people would describe like he has a way of harnessing music and joy and expressing that into the masses so they can experience that as well.
I would 100% agree, because one of the things I wanted to tell you is, as a yoga teacher, which you
Yeah.
understand our flavor so well with what you do, because there is an arc to a class, and the way your music takes us on that journey, it's such a co-creation. Like, just being in the presence of you as a student
Yeah.
is so fun, whether it's
No,
the
thank
sound
you.
off experience or
Yeah.
sound on. You really do understand how to get us moving and grooving and flowing and just staying still. So it's such a wonderful experience. And I see and I know, just from what I've read about you also, you feel that energy.
Yeah.
And then you design, maybe just like when I teach, I usually don't have a plan, but sometimes I do. But usually it's it's the music that informs the class. And so I can see your wheels spinning sometimes, where you like, maybe you had that song on deck, but you're like, no, I'm going to change it now to this
Yeah.
other song,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what you know intuitively to do, because you're feeling it. It's
Absolutely.
such a gift.
It's a three-way collab, is what I say. It's a collaboration between the teacher, the DJ, and the energy of the class. That's how I see it. And the music is like, you got to know the music and energy. There's like so many, most teachers I work with, we never plan the class ahead of time. It's like, that's the offering. That's actually
Yeah.
the art in the making. And that's kind of, for some people, that's like really hard to like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna work with? I don't know the song, but like, that's where like it's like the live element is like
Mhm.
we don't create the playlist on purpose so we can have this like really in tune in the moment experience. And most of the times it's amazing. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's just good. But that sometimes when it's as good as I would say is when we're not like fully focused and doing it is a meditation, like
It
that
is.
that DJ experience for me is like how like was I thinking about what was going on or was I on my phone or was my mind somewhere else? That's where, and same thing with the teacher. So the more connected the teacher and I become, it's kind of like, what is that, like an avatar when he connects to the horse or whatever
Yeah,
like
well,
that?
the tree, like they plug into
The-
the tree, but it's just the co-creation. It's just
Yeah,
being in flow with another human and really connecting with the energy. It's like a marriage. It's any other relationship that you
totally.
have. It's trust, it's
Hmm.
faith. And, like I always say, I have a chakra for that. So for the teachers who are not like me, because I'm like how you just described, I have full faith and trust in you. I could stand up on a stage. We would have the best time and it would
Yeah.
work out great. Other teachers literally write down
Oh
every
yeah.
single part of their sequence. I can't do that. And God love the teachers who do, but I think they'd have a difficult time going on the fly
Yeah.
in that
And
experience.
that takes
And
practice. No,
it
like,
does.
it's, I would say like there may be some naturals where they're just like started and they're just, teaching that way. But I think for most people who can just be on the fly, they're probably taught a lot. And then it's about practicing in that sense to teach like that. And yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, and then the chakra part of it comes into like, where do you have trouble letting others be in charge? Decision making comes into play, your fear from your root chakra, the whole thing. But you touched on a word that is designed in my show.
hmm.
So,
What's the
and
word?
now it's time for Joy on the Fives. So, in this moment, my
Uh-huh.
friend DJ Taz, what is bringing you joy?
What's bringing me joy is physical well-being. I'm exercising and regularly taking care of my body and health, and it feels amazing. I feel happy. Like
Yeah, you look good.
pretty, thank you.
It shows. Yeah, I like to break for joy in each of my shows because I have a mission to cultivate more joy. And we
Mhm.
know when we leave room for it and practice it and build it, it just grows. Oh, my
Hello.
dog.
It's a
Hello,
party.
come on in.
That's so
She's so
cute.
funny. I was like, I
I've
kept
seen her
taking
in
my
front of your house. We guys
I
walk, you
know.
walk.
Yeah, during COVID, she was outside. Well, that was our other dog. Maggie passed away, but this is Sophie, and she
Oh,
likes this, my meditation room too. She likes to
that's
be in
awesome.
here. And there was one other thing I was going to ask you about with your business. Oh, where would you say, if you had to or wanted to, where was some of your favorite places, not just to work, but to physically be alone or with Diana? I know you've been to Rhythmia, like you've been to some really cool places just for wellness on your own. And
Yeah.
so, can you share anything about any of those
Yeah.
places?
I mean, we've been so many, yeah, we have been I think a couple places where her and I had a great like festival experience of, performing and like just being as a couple. One was Chamonix, France. I
Mm,
played at Chamonix Yoga Festival right across from the Mont Blanc Mountains.
wow.
And that was like, because we were like really, we did classes like really high up where there was like glacier, like it was crazy and it was a really high up. But that was just a beautiful French town where we got to spend a lot of time. It was very different from a lot of the American festivals, but we loved it location wise. We loved the mountains. And another one was Bali. We went
Mm,
to Ubud and I played at Bali Spirit Festival, and this was early on, I think 2015 or 16. But just like that culture and that international yoga energy was really amazing. There's people from Asia, Australia, and the Middle East, and of course some Americans, but it was just like a really different, lively audience. Like and we went to the volcanoes and this and that. So it was like we did an extra week just to experience Bali because I was like, who knows when we'll be back in Bali? You
yeah.
know what I mean? Let's enjoy. So we spent money that was a pay to play kind of event. Like I got paid a little bit, but like you know we ended up spending more money to just experience it, and that is what I think is very important, is that you have to stop and smell the roses too. Like it is work, but like there's been years where I'm just like going, but like when I bring family along, we'll go and like spend a few days before the festival and hike and be
Mhm.
there, and those things are important. So a lot of these mountain towns, like Telluride,
Yeah,
we
that's a great town.
Whistler, like all the Wanderlust ones we did, like Mont Tremblant, Aspen. We were recently in Zion for the Zion. Oh yeah, Zion Yoga. But like last
Mhm.
year or 2 years ago, she joined me, and we went on hikes and this and that. So it's just like, but a lot of it when I go by myself, I'm like in and out. Like I'll go do something, but I'm like working, you know. Like I'll
Do you
enjoy
have
my time in between. I'll take classes with other teachers. I always do that. I always go like I'm like fully in it. Um, but I have to take care of my body when I'm at those things, like Epsom salt bath, like get enough sleep, lots of sleep actually, eat well, don't eat junk food because I'm I'm at one festival. Actually, this weekend I'm going to Sedona Yoga Festival, and I think I have like 6 experiences. But then in the summer I have one called Telluride Yoga Festival. I'm offering 8 things in like
mm,
3 days.
that's a
That's
lot.
like I love doing it, so it's not difficult for me. But on the body, it's like a lot of effort. So you have to understand how to work your energy and say no to certain things and go to sleep and wake up. For me, that one of my secrets is Epsom salt baths. When I'm working that much, instead of taking like a Motrin or ibuprofen, you do the bath and you're like, I'm like, wake up next morning, I'm like, let's go.
It might be hard to do in the middle of a desert in a tent, but I like the
Oh
idea.
yeah, no.
Yeah, I've sometimes in the moons, whether it's a full moon or new moon, I'll take a salt bath too.
Oh,
It's really nice. That's something new I've incorporated. Is there any bucket list location you have yet to go to, whether it's for work or pleasure or both, that you want to get to?
man. Like I see a lot of these events that are like, it just looks really cool on like Insta, like a New York Times. Like I see this one event they do, like the Times Square, like it's like
Mm,
a summer solstice. It just looks like there's so many people gathered there. It looks like such an energetic, interesting kind of like offering to do like a big yoga class in the middle of New York City like that. That looks cool. Red Rocks, there's like a
mm,
yoga thing that happens there. It'd be really amazing to do the class there sometime. I just love like very unique locations. I think that's
mm.
stuff is on the bucket list for me when it comes to doing events. Honestly, like, yeah, like I feel like I've done a lot of beautiful things, but it's just impactful things too. And maybe some more international stuff would be great. Since COVID, since 2020, it's been mostly American events.
Well, I was going to ask, like, you probably don't have a whole tour bus yet and like trucks that follow you, but you've got a lot of gear. So is getting your stuff to one place or another, is that like a whole other plane or suitcase, like
You see how I
logistically?
fly. I like, for example, this weekend I'm flying to Sedona, but I'll have 4 suitcases, my DJ bag, and I carry, and that's just like, it looks crazy. Like, and I roll up, like but it's for me, it's very easy.
Mm,
But that's only 100 headphones that I take with me. Like, if it becomes anything more than that, then I ship stuff.
gotcha.
That's also simple. It's just a matter of like, effort of like taking the headphones and shipping it. So it's all logistics, but that's actually very manageable. Like when you start adding like multiple instruments and people, this and that, then yeah, you have to like, people have to fly out or you have a bus. Things become expensive. So whatever you're offering, you have to have sponsors. It has to make sense so you can, commit to the economic lifespan of it. So it's successful and you can pay everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's possible.
Well, you don't have a glam squad yet, and
No.
probably never. But maybe you'll travel with a masseuse and like your own bathtub someday, so you can
Oh
just
my
take a
gosh,
bath anywhere.
that's actually rather probably easy because you now they have those inflatable ones that you could
Yeah.
like blow up and then you could do the cold plunge and then you could heat it up and that'd be
There you
awesome. You
go.
glamp it
You
up.
can do like a SoulGroove app bath,
Oh my God. All that
accessory.
is totally realistic. It's doable.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else that you'd like to tell my listeners? This will probably come up in a couple of weeks, if not before. Anything this summer that you want to elevate and promote? And of course, how to find you. I'll put everything in the show notes. But now's your
Yeah.
chance to get
No, for
everything
your
out there.
listeners, what I would just say is like, it's important to listen to your like heart, and this may be something that people have said a lot, but I really truly believe that every one of us, like we all have certain wants and desires and ways we want to express ourselves to the world. Like I have to say, like we can all do it, but it takes like steps, just like what I will say is like take small steps towards a big vision or whatever it is. Sometimes like we want to make big jumps, but like just if it's the smallest thing, start doing some research, homework. But like say yes to the opportunities that you're wanting to do, even if it's in a small way, because you have to do it. It's your one life. We're on this earth for a little bit and then we're gone. So like, step it up, do what you want to do, enjoy life, have a good time. Listen to a lot of good music. You know, be sure you're following me on places like Spotify. Everything's under DJ Taz Rashid. Instagram, same thing. And if I can ever help anybody with music or any projects, you know, reach out to me. Same thing with events. And yeah, stay in touch. If anyone has any questions about anything specific that we talked about, you can always, you know, email or message me, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and support the app, you guys, not just because I've got some
Oh
classes
yeah.
on there, but it's a great concept, and I know you've got more plans for it, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Energetically, I'm so glad that we're aligned in so many ways. I didn't know until today our human design's also the same, so I love that.
that's
And
awesome.
I adore your wife and your growing family. I love that
Yes.
your daughter seems to be musically inclined
Oh,
and
she's amazing.
has great rhythm as well, and I'm sure your son won't have a choice.
Yes, he'll
Yeah,
be Dr.
so yeah, thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule, for being so generous and as you are, it's just by default. It's such a pleasure to spend time with you anytime I can. So thank you so much, Taz, for being with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you.